Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Donna Deegan.
What, I wasn't who y'all were expecting? Who's ready for a little Andrew Gillum revival? God, Lord knows I am. I am missing that voice. Are we missing that voice? Oh my gosh. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so happy that all of you are here, because I know if you're here like me, this man speaks to your heart. And I got to tell you, this is my first rodeo in a political campaign was with Mayor Gillum. I spent 30 years with these guys on the other side of that microphone, interviewing people like him, never coming off the sidelines. But what happened to me along the way is I was diagnosed with breast cancer not once but 3 times. And I started to hear from women who said, Donna, you don't know what so many of us are going through. I have to choose between putting food on the table for my kids and getting chemotherapy. That's not a choice anybody should ever have to make, right? So my mind started to change, and I started to think, how can I help people in that situation? And so over time, I transitioned my life into work with the underserved, trying to help them with their financial needs while they're going through a difficult time like this. But I started to think, more and more, how crazy is it that anybody would ever have to make that choice? And I found myself getting closer and closer to getting involved politically. And then one day, I happened to be sitting on my couch, and I saw this dynamic, amazing human speaking at the Democratic National Convention. How many of you guys saw Mayor Andrew Gillum speak at the Democratic Convention? And I said, oh my gosh, that is a voice we need. You know why? Because it was so authentic. It was so real. It was so passionate. And I said, I want to hear more from him. And then when the unthinkable happened, right? I don't even have to say what it is, do I? Don't make me say it. Don't make me say it. I started to think, my God, I don't want my children to believe that this is the way we speak to each other. I have 2 young people coming up in the world right now, and I finally said, you know what? Between the fact that it's a crying shame that we don't take care of people in this country that need health care, I need to be an example for my children. And I called up Andrew Gillum, and I said, I believe in you, I want to meet with you, and I want to do everything that I can to help you be elected the governor of Florida. And he sat down with me in Jacksonville, Florida. That's where I'm from, or we like to say Duval. He sat down with me for about an hour and a half, and that man listened more than he talked. How often do you see that in a politician? Never. And I could feel that he cared about my kids as much as he cared about his kids. I could feel that his heart was in it for the state of Florida. I could tell that he really, truly was going to dedicate himself. And he told me, he said, you know what? I know people are saying we don't have a chance, but I will tell you nobody will outwork me. If you join me on this journey, I promise you no one will outwork me. Did anybody outwork him? And what did that do? That motivated each and every single one of us in this room to work as hard as he worked by his example, because we knew that he was going to be there for us. In Duval County, I am proud to say that we flipped Duval County blue for the first time since 1986. Since 1986, all because of that incredible man and the way that he activated so many people. But you guys, we came up short. We came up a handful of votes short, just a handful. But you know what that handful means? It's the difference between expanding Medicaid so our most medically needy can get help and not doing that. It's the difference in our teachers getting a wage they can live on. It's the difference between drilling in the Everglades or not drilling in the Everglades. So we have work to do. And I will never forget standing there in Tallahassee, watching that incredible human being, one of my favorite humans on the planet, as he sat there that night and said, "I'm sorry I couldn't bring it all the way home. But I promise you this, I'm not going anywhere." And guess what, y'all? He's not going anywhere. Mayor Gillum has started Forward Florida, to move Florida forward and to flip this state blue in 2020. Can we do it? But he is going to need each and every one of us to do it. Are you with him to do it? Will you do it with him? Can we let him hear loud and clear out there as he's waiting to come out tonight that we are ready to continue to bring it home? Bring it home! 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 Thank you, guys. Let's do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miami Gardens Mayor Oliver Gilbert. She don't want to see. She ain't ready for it. If I ain't the greatest, then I'm headed for it. Yeah, that mean I'm way up.
Yeah, I told him to play Drake, right? Listen, are y'all ready to work? Are you all ready to work? This is the thing. I'm Oliver Gilbert, and let me get the housekeeping out of the way first. Welcome to Miami Gardens. Welcome to Miami Gardens. I see one of my council members over there, Councilman David Williams. David, wave to the folks. Listen, we are 113,000 extraordinary people, the largest predominantly black city in the state of Florida, third largest city in Miami-Dade County. We are blue collar and white collar. We're professional. We're workmen. We're government workers and private sectors. We're young and we're old. In other words, we are Florida. We are America. That's what we are. So when people talk about America, it always kills me because they act like they're talking about somebody else. America is us. America's us. And it's not just, this is ground zero, but Miami Gardens isn't just ground zero. Monticello, Florida is ground zero. Pensacola, Florida is ground zero. Orange County is ground zero. Hillsborough is every place where someone could vote, but they didn't vote. Every place where someone could be registered, but they aren't registered. It's ground zero for the America that we want, the America that we need. Look, we're doing something here in Miami Gardens that's interesting. We decided as a city, year-round, no matter what, as a function of city government, we're going to register people to vote all the time. We've decided that we created the Office of Civic Engagement. And what that means is you're going to know. You're going to know how to register to vote. You're going to know where to register to vote. You're going to know where your precincts are. You're going to know what the issues are. We can't tell you how to vote, but I'm going to let God do that work because some things are common sense. My dad was a Baptist preacher. They said I had 3 minutes, and I told him I was Baptist. Jesus spent all that time healing the sick, and we don't want to give folks health care. That's just, he said, suffer the children to come to me, but we don't want to pay for good public education. That don't make no sense. Listen, but we can do this. We can do this. Not me. It's not Mayor Gillum. It's all of us. It's our collective voices that architect the America of our imagination. It's us deciding that what we have isn't what we want. And what we need, we can have. And that if we just stop, we don't just need to tweet about it, or Instagram about it, or Facebook about it. We need to vote about it. Let's just vote about it. So whether you're a former felon that just got your rights back to vote, we will register you in Miami Gardens. If you're a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, we will register you in Miami Gardens. If you are a newly naturalized person, we will register you in Miami Gardens because our effort is to hear every American voice. This ain't a solo for people who got money. This is a choir made up of over 300 million extraordinary people, extraordinary. And we're going to sing loud and clear. Welcome to Miami Gardens. Thank you.
music coming in the air. Hear the screams from everywhere. I'm addicted to the thrill.
I'm ready.
It's a dangerous love affair. Can't be scared when it goes down. Got a problem? Tell me now. Only thing that's on my mind is who's gonna run this town tonight. Who's gonna run this town tonight? We gonna run this town.
We are, yeah, I said it, we are. This is Rock Nation, pledge your allegiance. Get your boutiques on, all black everything. Black cars, all black everything. And our girls are blackbirds, riding with their diligence. I get more in depth if you boys really real enough. This is La Familia, I'll explain later. But for now, let me get back to this paper. I'm a couple bands down and I'm trying to get back. I gave Doug a grip, I lost a flip for 5 stacks. Yeah, I'm talking 5,60 shots, zeros. Here, back to running circles round. Now we squared up. Hold up.
Life's a game, but it's not fair. I break the rules, so I don't care. So I keep doing my own thing, walking tall against the rain. Victories within the mile, almost there, don't give up now. Only thing that's on my mind.
And
is who's
now,
gonna run this town.
ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Andrew Gillum.
Walk it like I talk it.
Walk it like I talk it. Walk it, walk it.
What's up, everybody? Are y'all ready to flip Florida blue? Better yet, are y'all ready to flip the United States of America blue? I tell you, it is so good to be back home, y'all. And it is also good to see some really awesome, familiar faces in this audience. We spent a lot of time together as we moved around this state over the last 2 years. Now, I know some of y'all have been trying to push me to get on a ballot in 2020. But what I want you to know more as we moved around this state over the last 2 years. Now, I know some of y'all have been trying to push me to get on a ballot in 2020. But what I want you to know, more importantly, that we are all on the ballot in 2020, right? If you care about public education, then we're on the ballot. If you care about making sure that people earn a wage that they can live on to take care of themselves and to take care of their families, we're on the ballot. Y'all, if you care about global warming and climate change and paying teachers what they're worth, if you care about ending gun violence and releasing the stranglehold that the NRA has on this country, then you care about what happens in 2020. If you care about a woman having the ability to make her own reproductive health decisions, then we're on the ballot in 2020, y'all. So listen, we're here because right here in Miami-Dade, Florida is an area that y'all know, I talked about it a whole bunch throughout the last 2 years on the trail. This is an area that I'm from. I was born in Jackson Hospital, grew up in South Dade, an area called Richmond Heights. Shout out to the Heights and all of the points in between. You all know that I talked a lot about the fact that my mother was a school bus driver here for the Miami-Dade school system, and my father was a construction worker. I lost him a few weeks ago, but his spirit stays with me. It encourages me, it inspires me, and his legacy will live on in us doing the work that is necessary so that hardworking families are able to live a life of decency, of respect, of individual dignity, be paid a wage they can live on, and have access to life-saving medicine when they need it. I consider that a part of his legacy. I'm a living part of it, but I want to enlist all of y'all's help in that work as well. I want you to know that. But I'm also here because we accomplished some pretty important and critical things over the last 2 years. Now, I recognize that things didn't go all the way we wanted, but we got to celebrate for a moment that we expected 6 million people to turn out and vote in presidential elections. This state gets close to 9 million voters. Do y'all know that 8.5 million people voted in the midterm elections in this state? Do y'all know that we flipped 2 congressional seats from Republican to Democrat in that election? Do you also know that up and down the ballot, from local races to state races, including the election of Nikki Fried as our Commissioner of Agriculture and Consumer Services, we won many of those seats. And y'all, importantly, because we turned out and we voted like our lives depended on it, 1.4 million people now have the ability to register to vote here in the state of Florida. That's a big deal. That is a big deal. And since we're on that topic, I want us to be able to send an unapologetic message to the legislature to get their hands off of Amendment 4. It is the law of the land. It is the law of the land. It is enshrined in the Florida Constitution. We decided overwhelmingly that Florida is going to be a state of second chances. We decided overwhelmingly that we believe that people should not be judged forever by their worst day. We decided that, and we decided it overwhelmingly. And so the only thing the Florida legislature needs to do is to get out of the way and let Amendment 4 take shape, and let us get to the process of registering voters. That is our job. That is our work. Well, y'all, even though I wasn't able to cross the finish line to become the governor of the state of Florida, and I gotta tell you, people ask me all the time, how you doing, Andrew? Are you doing okay since the election? And I gotta be honest, it hurt. All right? And I run into people all the time who remind me how hurt they are. I'm like, I promise you, I'm a little more hurt. But in all sincerity, I said this throughout the trail, that it is important that we win these races, not for the name that's on the ballot, but for the people who lose when we lose these elections. Working people, people who are terrified of getting sick, people who are working multiple jobs just to make ends meet, right? Those are the people who lose when we lose these elections, which is why it is so consequential that we get this thing right today, y'all. It is consequential for the future not only of the state of Florida, but of the United States of America, that Florida deliver like we have never delivered before. I'm committed to that work. I don't need to remind y'all, because I think you know, what is happening in Washington, D.C. is not normal. There is nothing normal about what we see happening in the White House. He ain't normal. There's a lot about him that ain't normal. But importantly, and I mean this with all sincerity, this is not who we are as a country. We're not a country that divides people off of the way we look, the language we speak, our country of orientation, who we love. That isn't who we are. And y'all, that's not who Florida is. And that's why we have got to get our act together in this state and get busy flipping Florida blue. Flipping Florida blue. Now, this is not an easy mission, y'all, that we are about to pursue. This mission takes work. We're not going to be able to shortcut our way through the process. I learned that in my own race. While I wanted to be governor of the state of Florida, I also recognize that change doesn't happen just through one election. That this race, although it was about winning the race for governor, it was never just about that. It was also about what it was that we were going to do to build a movement, a lasting movement, a sustaining movement that would push us not just to that election, but through that election to the next one so that we win it. And the next one so that we win it. And the one after that so that we win it. Think for a moment. What if Dr. King had gotten turned around? When those pastors said, get out of here, you rebel rouser. Go back someplace else. We're just fine around here. What if Rosa Parks decided that she was going to get up and head to the back of the bus? Right? What about all those 4 mothers and 4 fathers? Dolores Horta, right? Cesar Chavez, right? Gloria Steinem. All of those amazing tall figures across American history. They were ordinary people who did things extraordinarily well. They persisted. They pushed through. In spite of their setbacks and in spite of their losses, in spite of the winding road along the way to progress, they stuck to it. So y'all, that is what we have to do. Take it from me, right? My name was on the ballot. We got 32,000 votes close, right? Because of y'all. And although we didn't cross that finish line, we don't give up. We don't give out. We don't throw this thing away. We don't walk away. We show up that next day. And the day after that, and the day after that, until we get what we want. Frederick Douglass was right, y'all. Power sees nothing without a demand. And as far as I'm concerned, my interpretation of that is the best way to make good on that demand is to show up and to show out and tell our elected officials from Washington, D.C. to Tallahassee, Florida, to down the street that we have the power to put them in office and the power to take them out. Right? We the people. We the people. We the people are greater than the people in power. Right? We gotta know that. We have to believe that. We have to command that. And we gotta go to work to make that true. And so today I came down here to Miami-Dade, Florida to share with you and our partners and so many others that we are going to make a commitment. That all that we went through, all that we worked for, the 70,000 volunteers who organized on our behalf across this state, the over 1 million cell phone conversations that we opened up two-way communication with, the 4 million plus voters that we received, the people who care deeply about this state, that collectively we are going to commit ourselves to registering and engaging 1 million voters between now and 2020's presidential election. 1 million voters between now and the presidential election. I want you to understand. I want you to understand the significance of this goal. When Barack Obama was on the ballot here in the state of Florida in 2008, Democrats had a registration advantage of over 700,000 more registered Democrats than Republicans. When I was on the ballot this last November, that advantage had shrunk to fewer than 250,000. A precipitous decline in our registration. Now, I'm smart enough to know that everybody registered doesn't necessarily vote. But I'm smart enough also to know that you want as many marbles on the table, so if a few of them fall off, it doesn't cost you the election. Right? Well, y'all, I'm committed, and I hope you're equally committed to recognizing that the road to the White House runs through Florida. We can deny Donald Trump a second term right here in the state of Florida. Right here in the state of Florida. But in order to do that, it's going to require us to get to work. It's going to require us to be disciplined and surgical and committed day in and day out until we reach election day in 2020 to register and engage as many voters as we can. It is time out. It is time out for showing up on a voter's doorstep 3 weeks out from an election. It is time up for waiting until we get into an election year or waiting for a nominee to get to the hard work of registering and engaging voters. Why would I show up for you if you haven't shown up for me? Right? Why would I respond to your call to go out and vote if I've never heard from you before, if you've never been on my block, if you've never taken the time to hear the things that keep me up at night, the things that are my greatest concern? but also the things that make me hopeful about the future, right? Why would I care about that if going out and voting if you don't show that you care about me in that way? So y'all, this has to be a deeper level engagement, right? This isn't the sexy work. I gotta admit, I'm sure it's probably more fun for some of those out there running for president. I am sure it's probably more fun to be out there on a campaign trail in pursuit and in support of a singular candidate. This is the hard work of democracy. This is the hard work of democracy. Right? It requires that we get out there and that we organize and that we activate and that we produce a voter who is going to show up not just on election day, but on the day after. They're going to be there to hold you accountable. Right? That's the kind of voter that we have to create. And so I want to call out just a few of those partners who are going to work with us in this effort. There are many groups that have been doing this difficult work day in and day out. They've done it without a lot of salutes. They've done it without a lot of recognition. They've done it without having to accept a lot of applause. And now what we want to do is help them scale that work up so that we can get to this goal. I am proud to be in this work, not just with those of you in this room, but I'm proud to be in this work with organizations like the Florida Democratic Party, like the Service, like SEIU, who is in the House, like Dream Defenders, who are in the House, like Organized Florida, and like the Florida Immigrant Rights Coalition, who is doing difficult work day in and day out, like People for the American Way and People for the American Way Foundation. I'm excited to be in partnership with them. But y'all, I gotta tell you, I am excited to be in partnership with all of you. We've got work to do. How many of y'all know we got work to do? How many of you all are willing to roll up your sleeves and join me in this effort to get this job done? Because I know that if we're committed to going block by block and street by street and person to person, listening and hearing and responding and organizing, that when we reach out and say we need your vote in order to help yourself, then they're going to be a lot more responsive to us. We've got to do this work, y'all, not because I've asked you to do it. Y'all, we got to do it because our very democracy, our very nature of who we are as a country, as a people, quite frankly, as humanity, depends on our ability to send Donald Trump an answer that says, sir, your eviction notice is served and you are out of the White House. It depends on our ability. It depends on our ability right here in the state of Florida. Now, how many states can you say by themselves have the ability to deny this man a return to the White House? I can't think of a bigger, better, greater, more important state than the state of Florida for us to send that message. We are uniquely situated to issue that eviction notice, y'all. Y'all can see I'm fascinated by this eviction notice. I just can't wait for the image of us rolling them right on out of the White House and back to whatever planet they may have come from, and rolling in whoever the Democratic nominee, and I mean whoever the Democratic nominee is for President of the United States. We have the ability to do that, Florida. And so I am asking you to join me in this mission. I'm asking you to join side by side with me and commit ourselves to this audacious goal. Now, there are going to be haters and deniers and people who say it's not possible. Right? There are going to be folks who are going to hate from the sideline and never roll up their sleeves to join us. Well, y'all, if we're in this thing to win it, who's going to turn us around? Nobody has the opportunity to turn us around when we say that we are committed to this goal, to this mission, to this work, and we will not stop until we get it done. I want you to know that I'm committed, right? I could easily go off like the others and try to find some way to make lots of money, but I got to tell you, I'm not built that way. I'm a father of 3 children. I'm concerned not just about my kids, but the kids they sit next to in school. I'm not concerned just about my neighborhood, but the neighborhoods that help to make up my city and my county and my state. I'm not just concerned about my health care, I'm also concerned about the person who doesn't have access. Right? Y'all, we are connected in this thing. We are connected in this thing. If you think you are not, then tell me why your premiums are increasing year over year without prediction, because you're paying for the folks who don't have access. And by the way, you're paying at a more expensive end of the spectrum, the most expensive and least efficient. You want to know why we're in this thing? Because when gun violence reeks out in our neighborhoods here in Miami-Dade and in Broward County and in Palm Beach and all over this state, it doesn't just impact the psyche of those who are directly impacted, it impacts all of us. What the tragedy we saw at MSD and at the Fort Lauderdale Airport, and that we see repeated in places all across the country, it doesn't just impact the psyche of those who are physically in the space. It impacts all of us. When we hear gun, we drop, we run, we scatter. And the stains of that stay with us, and they stay with our kids and our families. Donald Trump would have us to believe that the only way we do better is by stepping on our neighbors. Well, y'all, I reject that. The only way we do better is when we do better. That's how we do better as a nation. That's how we come up as society. So, y'all, we have an opportunity in the state of Florida in November of 2020 of not only enlisting and registering 1 million more voters, but in a state that is won and lost by 1%, or maybe less than, in my case, 0.4%. Right? In a state that is won and lost by that close a margin, don't you think if we can put 2 million new voters on the table, what that will mean for the future of the state of Florida and the country? Come on. Come on. We can win this thing. So I want y'all to do what my grandmama told me to do. Y'all know it. She told me to bring it home, right? She told me to bring it home, not just to my house, but to your house. And to the homes of the people whose names we cannot call, the faces we cannot recognize. We gotta bring it home. That didn't end with a campaign for governor. That mission is higher than any one individual in any one election. Well, y'all, if we do our job and we bring this thing home, November of 2020, we are going to evict Donald Trump and send a Democrat to the White House. I believe we can do it. I believe we can do it. I believe we can do it. If you believe we can do it, let me hear you say, yes, we can. Let me hear you say, yes, we can. And let me hear you say, bring it home. Let's bring it home, everybody. God bless you. We got work to do. Let's flip Florida blue, and let's flip this country blue in 2020. God bless you. God bless you.